Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz Video Recap. Today is Friday, June 7th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable, seroundtable.com over the past week. First up, I posted the June Google Webmaster Report, so you can catch up on everything you might have missed over the past month or so. I'm not going to go into it in detail, but definitely know that if you want to catch up, June 4th, you can get that recap. The big news week, or this week, was that Google pre-announced on Sunday afternoon that they are rolling out a core update. They're calling it the June 2019 core update, which technically rolled out on June 3rd, which was on Monday, but Google announced it, as you can see here, on June 2nd, 4 p.m., that they're releasing a broad core update. It's one of the first very unusual time where Google actually go ahead and do a pre-announcement of an update. They've done it before. People say they've never done this before. They actually have done this before in the past, but it's definitely something they typically do not do. They did this only because it's not necessarily big, but it is going to be noticeable. The update was definitely noticeable for many people, and they wanted to make sure that people were aware of it instead of scratching their head and saying, hey, what's going on? So with that, on June 3rd, Monday afternoon, Google said the update has started to roll out. And they said this at exactly 1:02 p.m. Eastern on June 3rd. It's starting to roll out to our various data centers. It could happen over the next several days. So how long will it take? That's a good question. Yada yada. But when we wrote about this on June 4th, the day after, people started to already notice some changes to their update. Many people did not notice a lot, but some people noticed on June 4th it was starting to roll out. Then we covered again on June 5th, which was on, I believe, Wednesday. Wednesday. And people started to really notice that this was a big update. So those guys who actually noticed they were impacted by this core update saw 30% drops, 20% drops, 50% drops. I even seen some people say they got 90% drops in their traffic. And there's lots of chatter around it. It's hard to say yet if it's specific to like medical or health or whatever, but definitely a lot of sites in those areas got it. I looked through like tons of different quotes here showing things going on. The data providers came out, their winners and losers. I'm not going to go through it all, but there's tremendous amounts of discussion around this. Each and every single one of my posts have over 100 comments from people, mostly bashing each other, of course, because the comments are Search Engine Roundtable. But if you look at the chatter across the whole SEO community, which I summed up a lot in here, you'll see there's lots and lots of concern over this update. Then I noticed when I was sitting at the airport Wednesday night after XMX Advanced, around, 11 p.m. local time there, 2 a.m. Eastern time, I saw a post from the DailyMail's SEO, director of SEO, Jesus Mendez, who said, and he posted, here's a screenshot of it, we've seen a 50% drop in search traffic from our post from this broad core update. In fact, he also said there was a Google Discover traffic drop of 90%. That kind of implies that Google Discover also looks at the same quality signals as Google's core search, which is very, very interesting. Then he went into more details. At the time when I posted this, there was actually no responses to his post, which he posted 11 hours before I wrote about this. Actually, it was probably closer to like 15 hours before this was published. And once I published it, I didn't realize it got a tremendous amount of traffic. I mean, this site, this news got a tremendous amount of traffic that Daily Mail would go ahead and write something like this. I emailed this director of SEO at Daily Mail. He did not respond. I'm trying to contact him through multiple ways to see if it's legit. Some people are saying, hey, maybe this person who is being masked. Maybe it's not really him. Maybe somebody else posted on his behalf pretending to be him. But who knows? In any event, sites are definitely getting hit. If you are a public company, I don't necessarily recommend you post in a public forum about your hit, because it could definitely have a ripple effect in your stock and so forth, but just keep that in mind. Now that we got through the June core update, and obviously we're gonna keep following it and so forth and see what's going on with it, and we'll keep you posted. But Google also announced yesterday that they started rolling out a different update, unrelated to the core update, on the same day, June 3rd, and it finished rolling out yesterday afternoon, specific to domain diversity. And Google said this domain diversity update means that now Google will only show up to two results from the same domain name. So SERoundtable.com can only show up twice if you do a search for June Core Update or something like that, June Core whatever update, instead of showing up 5 or 6 times, because they want to offer a more diverse set of search results. Now let me quickly go through this. This was announced yesterday afternoon at almost 5 p.m. And here's the tweet. We've heard your feedback about making a more diverse set of search results, and now a new change is now launching in Google Search designed to provide more diversity in our search results. Max 2 results per domain name. Unless the specific query Google determines by the query that people want more. You search for Amazon or branded types of queries, maybe Google's going to show you more results from that domain name. But generally, only 2 results from a specific domain name. That includes subdomains are root domains. So if you have blog.seroundtable.com, forum.seroundtable.com, www.seroundtable.com, etc., that will all be considered as one domain name. Unless, for example, Google thinks, like in WordPress, where they host sites for free on their subdomains, then they'll consider specific types of subdomains to be their own unique sites. But in general, subdomains are being treated as part of the main domain name. This is different from the core update. Google said this is unrelated to that. It's different to that, they said. And it actually started rolling out on June 3rd as well. So you can see here, it started about 2 days ago, which was June 4th, June 3rd. It went fully live today. He's not going to call it an update because it was an update, but it's a change to the diversity ranking, an update to how they do diversity. It's not going to really impact direct rankings. It's going to show search results. So if you have the top number 1 ranking, that's going to stay there. But if you also have the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th result, though, some of those might go away. Things that are ranked highly before will still remain highly ranked. And I said, what about people being able to track how this impacts their traffic? Because now you have 2 different updates rolling at the same time, and they do updates almost every day, yada yada. You'll be able to distinguish it, he said, from the other one. And this only impacts the core 10 blue links. So if you have feature snippets, local listings, image results, video results, those are unrelated. You could have as many as you want there. It's not going to influence the 2. It's not going to influence that, so you can have more there. And it's not content-based, it's domain-based. So if you have the same content across multiple sites, again, it's domain-based. And it's not perfect. People are saying, oh, what about these results? Here's Yelp showing 100 times in the same search results set for a specific query. And Danny Sullivan, well, it's not perfect. We're going to make it better and so forth. So keep giving me examples and so forth. And Google has done this before. Google has updated domain diversity numerous times. I know Google confirmed it around 3-4 times in their history, but they've done this probably dozens and dozens of times over the course of the past few years, and probably more so. But that's it. That's the domain diversity change. And again, keep in mind that launched around the same time as this and fully rolled out afterwards. Now, let's quickly go through the rest because we're already about 8 minutes in, and I want to make sure to get through the rest of this stuff quickly. Google is testing, or actually launching, merging like organic results into like branded queries. So it looks like you see the knowledge panel, then you start seeing about. These are quite Q&A results, images. This stuff usually used to be in the local panel segment, and now it's actually merged into the organic results, which is very interesting. Google's rich results test added a new feature to help SEOs and webmasters and developers figure out when their content is not equivalent across desktop and mobile by adding a toggle for Googlebot Smartphone and Googlebot Desktop. And that's going to help SEOs and webmasters and developers figure out how to make their sites more the same across desktop and mobile, which will help them get into mobile-first indexing. Google said again that using the Google Indexing API is specific to job posting schema and specific to only live streaming structured data. Don't use it for other purposes. And there's been a lot of people trying to use it for other purposes. Google's Gary from Google basically said that the HTTPS ranking factor, which launched several years ago, is something that's sticking around, is something that is measurably affects the search results. He said, I can't say the exact number, but it affects enough queries measurably that it won't be ignored. That he wouldn't ignore it. So don't not go HTTPS because of that. He also added later that a broken certificate will affect other things for sure. For reasons I know for certain that the ranking signal itself would be unaffected. You have HTTPS in the results, you get a tiebreaker boost. Now, the reason this came up was because John Mueller basically said a change in SSL would not affect rankings, assuming it's valid. And I know previously Google said the certificate doesn't have to be valid. HTTPS ranking boost is specific to HTTPS, it being in the URL. It doesn't have to be valid. But here's more examples of why it is important to make sure it is valid. Google said that previously, I think a week ago, we reported that Google said Google will not show content within expandable hidden blocks on your website, like expandable elements, in the snippets. And when asked, will Google use that content in featured snippets, John Mueller said, I don't know for sure, but my understanding is that it would. So then there was examples of do you see it showing? So I asked, can you show it up? Can it show? Can expandable content show in Google feature snippets? When Google said specifically, snippets will include expandable content. And the answer is yes, it seems like it would. And many examples are in that post. Google said removing alt attributes from images is sort of okay in a case where necessarily it kind of annoys your disabled viewers. So let's say you have content around the image that describes the actual image as well, and then you have the alt tag describing the image. That could be kind of redundant. Google doesn't recommend removing it, but if you have to remove it, you can. It could impact the actual rankings of those images, so keep that in mind. Google is testing the More Results button, which they launched a year or so ago on mobile. They're testing showing that on desktop now. So in April 2018, Google launched the More Results button in mobile. Now they're actually testing it for desktop results, so an infinite scroll kind of solution for desktop. Google's testing more refinement layers for the refined by search results. So currently, refined by kind of looks like this, but Google's testing, we can't see the images, but this and then deeper layers of that over here, which you can expand, which is pretty interesting. Google's testing also a weird rotating people also ask feature. Instead of people also ask being like a carousel type of feature, Google's actually testing it to look like this, where it actually is like rotating images. You could click on it, expand, do different things. I'm not sure I like it, but Google is definitely testing it. Google posted their SEO myth-busting video this week on the topic of JavaScript and SEO, and we learned that JavaScript is not the devil, but definitely take a look at this because it goes through, it's a pretty fun video to watch. These are all pretty fun videos, so I like enjoying them. Google's testing showing the local pack in a carousel format again. So here's a screenshot of what the test looks like. You can see it's a carousel format. They've tested this numerous times in the past, and they're testing it once again. Bing said at XMX they recommend you still use the disavow links file for not just manual actions and penalties, but also for algorithmic updates. It definitely is recommended, whereas Google kind of says you don't really need it for algorithmic updates, but you should use it for manual actions. Bing also said that their search results, their organic search results, are in no way influenced by your Microsoft advertising, formerly Bing ads, buys. There is absolutely no bribery going on, absolutely no influence. And Frederick from the Bing team, the Big Webmaster team and spam team said, no way, there is no relationship there. The Department of Justice may be investigating Google again over antitrust things related to search and other areas of their business. Keep that in mind. And it's Prime Month. Google had their doodle and their features, as well as Bing has something. If you start typing in Pride M or Pride various queries, their search box will actually start doing this rainbow effect, which actually I think works all year round, starting last year for Prime Month, but just keep that in mind. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. Just a note, I will be offline on Monday. I'll try to schedule some posts for Monday. I'll be offline actually for 3 days straight, Friday night through Monday night, for the Shavuos holiday, the Jewish holiday of Shavuos. Everyone who's celebrating, have a good one. And everybody else, have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys next week. Again, my name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the June 7th, 2019 Search Buzz video recap. Everyone have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next. Bye.